I'd like to thank each one of you for your sacrifices and generosity on behalf of last year's Bishop's Annual Appeal. It's your generosity and sacrifice that has made a huge difference in the lives of so many people across the 5 counties of the Diocese of Allentown. Today I am in Schuylkill County, in Pottsville, at St. Joseph's Center for Special Learning with some very special friends as we play some card games and do some coloring. It's your generosity that makes an incredible difference in the lives of these students, in the lives of their families, and the lives of our community. And now take just a moment to see with me some of the impact of your generosity across the Diocese of Allentown. Great to see you.
Thank you. My daughter Sky was born in 1993 and was diagnosed at birth with Down syndrome. She also has pervasive developmental disorder, or PDD, which is an autism spectrum disorder. She had open heart surgery as an infant, as well as a shunt insertion for hydrocephalus and previous seizure disorder. She's been extremely healthy since she's been about 3 years old, so her first couple years were a little crazy. Now we're working on development. She's not verbal and she is not mobile, but I hate to focus on the nots. She's an amazing child, very social, loves people, very intelligent, typical teenager, gets a little annoyed with her mother from time to time, and her brother. So the pluses far outweigh the challenges. The family, the parents, all of us were included in her educational planning, in her day. That was very important to us, especially because she's not verbal. The relationship with the teacher and the principal, and just the love. It's a family here. The kids know they're valued. Sky knows it, and I can't begin to tell you how much that means to the parent of a child with special needs. Well, she wasn't here very long, just a few weeks, and an invitation came home for a birthday party, the first one outside of family that she had been invited to by a friend. And it was a very big deal, extremely a big deal. And that was 10 years ago, and to this day, the young lady, who's no longer a student here, who became her friend all those years ago, she graduated actually from St. Joseph's Center last year, and she still comes. In fact, she was just at our house a few days ago. She comes and she hangs out with Sky because they're friends. Now, this young lady is 20 years old and is verbal and becoming very independent, and my daughter is not nearly to that level. However, this young lady doesn't see Sky as not able to talk to her about boys or clothes or jewelry. They just hang out. Her friend reads to her. They sit on the couch. They watch TV. They're real friends, which at 17, my daughter doesn't want to always hang out with my husband and I. So to have a friend, an actual peer come to be with her, I'm choking up thinking about it. It's priceless. And that's the feeling these kids get for each other here.
I came for a tour when I was invited to be on the advisory board, and I was just so moved by seeing the children. They're just so inspiring and wonderful to be around. I think each of them are just a blessing from God, and can feel God when I'm in their presence. And I was so moved by them that I did join the advisory board. I've been on the board now for about 7 years, and I've chaired the board for 3 years. The Bishop's Annual Appeal has been a huge source of support for the students here at St. Joseph's Center. It takes a significant amount of resources to run a special needs school and to provide educational opportunities for the children we serve. Unlike a regular classroom, our student-to-teacher ratio is a lot smaller here, and it needs to be. The children need a lot more one-on-one attention. They need additional aids. They need additional assistance when they're on the playground or eating their lunch. It requires a lot more specialized equipment in the classroom. Equipment for them to use for occupational therapy purposes, special computer equipment to help them learn, and specialized resources tailored to their needs that you wouldn't necessarily find in a regular classroom. With those things combined, it expands the amount of budgetary dollars that St. Joseph's Center needs to function and help these kids on a daily basis.
Yearly we do a budget. don't have too many changes in our budget, and we're not extravagant spenders at the school. We've been able to remain vibrant even though the economy has been what it has been for the past couple of years. We attest that to the generosity of the people of the Diocese of Allentown and what we're able to do. And we're able to help many families who do not have the funds financially to send their child to St. Joseph's Center. It's through the Bishop's annual appeal that we do not turn any child away or any family away because of financial restraints. You know, we come up with the money, the assistance for them. God doesn't make mistakes with children, with any of us. Sometimes I hear, people will say, do you really think these children are worth that amount of money? And I might come back as if it's your child. There is no limit to the amount of money you would spend to help that child to become the best that he or she can be. And we have to look at each child. They're a child of God. How does God see them? I think that's the way we need to see the children.
Well, they primarily came out to sustain and maintain the faith of Catholic students on secular campuses. That's their primary function. And then all that goes with that. It's not just for the preservation and the enrichment of the faith, but it's also for social gatherings and to keep them active in the faith and keep them on target with their faith, with their Catholicism. Now, I run the place like it's a parish. And therefore, what I mean is you have spiritual activities, you have social activities, you have life enrichment activities, as far as doing programs, as far as biblical studies, faith studies and dogmatics and systematic theology. And so we offer those. We have guest speakers, which certainly will attract the students. So that's how I see it. I see it like I'm running a parish, and they're my parishioners.
My first experience with it was going to dinners or events that they had at the Newman Center, and it was great because Father lived there all the time, so he was always around. Coach was always around cooking something in the kitchen, and the first major event that they had there my freshman year was a series on Catholicism and the human person with a seminarian that has since become a priest, but the seminarian would give talks on topics such as marriage or God becoming man.
I would think for any person of faith, I would think on any college campus, like I say, all the faiths should be represented there for their students. If for nothing else, to give them a sense of grounding and to give them a sense of home. The Bishop's annual appeal is certainly one of our, we couldn't survive without it. We're solely supported by the Bishop. I mean, we'd be out of business. Yeah.
Well, we are poor sisters of St. Joseph. We are poor among the poor. And being at Kennedy House give us the opportunity to be a blessing from God for this community. We try to do the best to be a testimony of God's mercy and love for all. To run an activity like this is good for many reasons, because rich people has a place to give from their goodness, sharing with the needy. And many volunteers spend long hours working with us, running the programs. Hundreds of families receive in this house clothing, food, moral and spiritual support. And they find here not an institution but a family, because our environment is very simple and friendly.
We are very grateful because the Catholic Charities help us with the food. Because we need every week more and more food, because the people, the number of the people are increasing every week. When Jesus said, help the poor people, That's what you need, because if Jesus is here, he will help too.
Thank you for your past generosity to the Bishop's Annual Appeal. Please make your gift today a gift of faith, hope, and charity for all God's people.